Welcome, everybody, to another episode of HomeKit Insider. You've got me, Andrew O'Hara, here with my pal, and I swear, Dan just consumed 3 entire Koopa Troopas before we started this episode, so if you're watching and his eyes get real bulgy, it is because he is on mushrooms. It is Steven Robles, and he is completely uncontrollable. How you doing, man, other than flying high at the moment?
Wow, those mushrooms. Listen, okay, but all joking aside, did you see the Mario movie?
I have not seen it yet. I have been too busy. We ran out of town over the weekends. There went that time, and it's just been a lot. I'm so bummed. I did get to see John Wick, right when that came out, but I have a whole list of movies. I'm a huge movie fan. I know you're a huge movie fan, but I never got to see Ant-Man. I never got to see Shazam. That was pulled so quickly, even though I totally would have seen that. And I'm dying to see Mario. I want to see Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot of movies. We should talk about some movie TV stuff a little bit, because I feel like that's gonna rant on that for a moment.
Yes, we should. Shazam was in theaters for all of 2 weekends, I think. And then I was thinking about going, and then I started hearing the rumblings, this is not very good. And then I looked on my Apple TV, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and it was you can rent it right now for $20, a week after it came in theaters, and I was like, that's not a good sign. This thing bombed. If that's the case.
I know. I had a couple people who went and saw it, and they said it was not bad. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it wasn't bad at all. So, I'm totally going to watch it. I'll rent it. It's fine.
We'll see. Anyway, the Mario movie, amazing. Just so fun. So much nostalgia. Illumination, 2 thumbs up. They did great. No spoilers. Of course, if you've played any Mario game. Anyway, no spoilers. All right, go see Mario. That's they didn't sponsor this episode, but listen, if they want to, we're totally open to that. We'll do Mario. I guess we just did. All right, let's move on. We got one 5-star review shout out, Turn EPF from the USA. Thanks for that 5-star review. And we have some follow-up, some FU, because we had a listener last week asking about video doorbells in the UK with HomeKit Secure Video, and had several people reach out. This is Thicky on Mastodon. He was saying that he actually has a Circle View doorbell. He lives in the UK. He purchased it from the US Amazon and turned up in about a week. Didn't have to pay import tax or anything. He got that set up. And for power, he's using a Ring Nest power supply from Amazon UK. And so he put a link there. I will put the links to that power supply that he mentioned in our show notes so you have it. But if you're in the UK and you're looking for an HSV doorbell, apparently it's Circle View. You can get it. Just shop on the US store. And then also, someone else mentioned, I thought I added it here, but apparently not. Oh, no, Joe Northeast on Instagram, he sent me a message. The Aqara G4 video doorbell, which has HomeKit Secure Video. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. Apparently that is also available in the UK. So you got 2 options over there in the UK for HSV video doorbell. So there you go.
That's awesome.
Get you one. Yeah. Did you set up the Aqara G4, by the way? Do you have that?
Yeah, it's on our back deck. I like it because of course it's battery power being the only one that does that. Sure. But I've used those power supplies for almost all of our doorbells because we don't have an actual power supply there, so I had to run one with that. But some of the ones when I end up having to test them, I'll just connect those power supplies, connect them up, use those for a while, and swap them around, especially if they're not the HomeKit ones, and I'm not going to bother really doing much in terms of long-term testing. I'm not going to keep it on the door for 6 months or something. So yeah, those power supplies are pretty sweet, especially with the doorbell. There's 2 wires to connect, doesn't matter which one they go to. Really easy to get those to work.
Amazing. So there you go. Now let's jump into some news. Oh, and I was just reminded of a little home project I did just as we were talking. I'm going to add that later in the show notes. Okay, this is, I was going to say very exciting, but say it facetiously, but I don't want to do that. Listen, the Kasa smart plug with Matter, you can buy it now. That's the news. If you want a smart plug, but you want a Matter smart plug, you can get this one. It's now on Amazon, at least here in the U.S. Delivery tomorrow, as we are recording. 2-pack is $40, so you're talking $20 each. Matter smart plug. There you go. That's it. That's the news.
Hey, that's still something. I just threw it in the show notes, Steven, but you reminded me, is these guys, which I still don't have a follow-up on, again, very busy week. The Nanoleaf gear is now shipping to customers. So if you were picking up the Essentials line from Nanoleaf, the new Matter versions with that HomeKit cert at the same time, these you can pick up. The bulbs, the light strips, and the BR30 bulbs. I think all three of those are now like fully available and shipping. So if you ordered them, you might have already gotten them if they showed up the week before you're hearing this. But yeah, more actual off-the-shelf Matter stuff, and I think that's a big thing. That's going to be a big deal. That stuff is actually going to start showing up in stores with this logo on them. I mean, it makes it more, not more real, but I think it definitely helps the penetration power when you're seeing it in the store and you're seeing that logo just alongside of the Amazon Assistant, Google Assistant, Apple HomeKit.
Yeah.
That's like a good transition point.
It makes it real.
Stuff.
It makes it real. Follow up on another Matter product. I only have one Matter product in my home, which is the SwitchBot Hub 2, and it was connecting and working okay, but now I have some accessories not responding, Andrew, and I hate to say it, but it's the SwitchBot Hub. I don't know what it's doing, but it totally just, it's on. It shows the temperature and the humidity. I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and I don't know, but it's not responding, so... Anyway, just thought I'd mention that. Okay. I think and the Matter support was in beta. I know it wasn't like official. It was a beta thing, but just saying. Okay, you have a new AirPods MagSafe case from our friends at ESR, which I didn't even mention this, but I got something from ESR too. You had mentioned this before, the wallet stand.
Yes.
The Halo Lock wallet stand. I know you like that, so I'm excited to try that out. But what do you got over there? They're making more stuff.
Super duper mini follow up on the wallet stand, the Geo Wallet Plus stand. I had said in my original review that it was too tight for 3 cards. It was kind of difficult to get them out, and they told me that this was the early production samples, like the before production, had a issue, and they had fixed that in the production one. They sent me the updated version now. No problems at all. 3 cards fit in there perfectly. Put in 1. There's that custom tension piece in there. Not going to slide out. Put 3. They come out easily. So definitely fix that issue. I was really happy to see confirm it on the release version. So that's good. That's exciting for you to try that out. This is we talked about like the AirPods, like they got Find My Tech and everything. And one of the things that always bothered me was nearly all of the AirPods cases that have come to market still don't support MagSafe. Like, Apple built in MagSafe into the new AirPods, and you can't put them on a MagSafe charger because no one has, like, their requisite magnets embedded into the case. And I've talked to, I don't want to, like, put the company out there, but, like, when I asked them, like, hey, why didn't you do this in your new cases? They made a really nice, sleek-looking leather case, and they're like, well, basically it was a trade-off. Like, it's going to mark the price up, and it's going to add bulk to the case, so we wanted to keep it slimmer. So we opted not to put the MagSafe in, and like when they had done user testing, it was like 50-50. 50 said, I will not buy it if it doesn't have MagSafe, and the other said, I don't care. So they are like, okay, well, I guess we'll go with the one that's at least cheaper and slimmer versus adding MagSafe. So I was a little bit bummed by that, that we're not seeing now the new ESR one. They've just done a lot of really cool things. I don't love the look of it, Steven, like just the straight look by itself. It looks kind of like utilitarian,
like iRobot.
Yeah, it's
style.
It's all black. It's like rubberized material. It's fine. So a couple things on this that are sweet. So it's magnetically closes. Like this is a strong magnet on the close. So it's easy enough to open up, but when you drop it, it's not going to pop open. Your AirPods fly out, which always happens, even with a bunch of other cases that I've tried.
Yes.
So I think that's a fantastic feature. The other thing is they've included these little accessories in the kit, Steven. So you've got first a little cleaning brush. I'm never going to focus on this, but a little cleaning brush, get in there and detail your AirPods. And you may laugh. And people internally at Apple Insider laughed when I did an entire video dedicated to an AirPods cleaning tool. But that video took off, and we had a ton of views on it. I know a bunch of people bought them through our affiliate link. So AirPods cleaning tools are a real thing, and I love that ESR just included one in there. There's a carabiner clip on the side because it does cover the new port, but they include like a little latch and a little carabiner, so you can use that. And finally, again, thinking of everything, a removal tool. so you can put it in the bottom of your AirPods and push up to safely remove it from the case if you ever need to. So again, like another smart thing. And the last thing, the reason why I was so excited about it, if I just bring this MagSafe charger into view for the camera folks, there are magnets. You can charge it with MagSafe. The only one that I found that can do this. I know there are others, and there's a lot of like no-name kind of brands on Amazon that do it, but none of the big ones, Falcon, Nomad, Woolnut, Casetify, like a lot of these ones that I review like on the regular have the MagSafe magnets built in. And ESR did it on this new case. So like, just props. Like props for all these little details. I don't love the look of it entirely, but props for just all these little touches. And I really liked it.
That is really cool. When you said the stronger magnet, too, I just had flash memories of all the times where I've dropped my AirPods Pro 2 case, and as soon as it leaves my hand, I know I'll be looking for AirPods for the next 10 minutes. Because as soon as that thing hits the ground, they fly. The AirPods Pro, they just fly all over the room.
And then it opens, and then they shoot right out.
It really just seems like that, even just at home. Like I haven't dropped my AirPods Pro 2 in like a parking lot yet. I did it with my old AirPods Pro, like in grocery shopping. When that thing hit the pavement, I was so upset because now I'm putting asphalt in my ear. I don't want to do that. But now, like I've dropped my AirPods Pro 2 just here at home, and when it hits the floor, I mean, it's just like they just fly across the room. It's ridiculous. So I might get it just for that, just to make sure that the case does not fly open. But I love what they thought of all of that.
Yeah.
And actually, I missed the AirPods cleaning thing. Is that did you buy a bespoke AirPods cleaning tool in the video, or I would like to know.
Let me pull this thing up.
AirPods get gross.
Yeah, no, this was a legitimate thing we did, and I had some people on the side were like, "That is the stupidest thing. We don't make a video on that." And I was like, "I'm telling you, this thing is gonna blow up." So we got like over 70,000 views, which for literally a cleaning tool for your AirPods is insane to me. Like that's
amazing. Yeah, there it is.
It's got a little brush. It's got they flip it around, and the other side's got like a little pipe cleaner type thing to get in all the grooves. You got a rounded metal tip to clean any like earwax and like the crevices or anything. Like, yeah, it's a dedicated cleaning tool for your AirPods.
It's been a while since I bought something on air, Andrew. I think this is about to be it. This is from Hagibis.
There's honestly 50 of them because they just like went viral. I'm pretty sure people just bought them off of Alibaba and marked them up, and they sell them on Amazon. So like, I mean, you can probably find other ones. You got the link to the one that I had particularly bought that we can throw up in the show notes. But yeah, don't look for a name on it because it's not a name. It's.
I mean, I want to get one that's going to be good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting one of the those, the Hagabibi, whatever I've missed the thing there. But now there's another one here. These are pretty inexpensive.
Yes,
these are like $6 or $7. There's another one here from Yasimla. I'm going to buy both of these, and for $14, I'm going to get 2 pairs of AirPods cleanings, and I'll give one to my kids so they can clean their AirPods. Because listen, kids' AirPods, it's get dirty too. It's rough. It's rough out here in these streets. I'm just saying. All right, we learn something every day. TIL. Today I learned I should clear my AirPods with one of these things. I like it. All right, we're going to rant a little bit on streaming services in a moment because I got an email yesterday about Max, which is not a dog's name. I'm not talking about Maximilian. I'm talking about HBO's new streaming service for $1,000 a month. So, we're going to talk about that, talk about streaming service in a second. But before we do, we have one friend to thank this week, our sponsor, ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN. Listen, it's running into the summertime, especially if you have kids. You might be traveling, going on vacation. Everyone wants to get on the Wi-Fi. They want to get on the hotel Wi-Fi. They want to get on the cafe Wi-Fi. Well, listen, on your kids' devices, you can run ExpressVPN on there. It's so easy. You open the app, press one button. They can be protected as well by using the VPN on those public Wi-Fi networks. Because, devices have a unique IP address. Well, if you didn't know, every device has an IP address. It's like an internet phone number, and it reveals information about you if someone gets that IP address. And, there's hackers out there. But listen, because it's simple to find that IP address, when you use something like ExpressVPN, it will mask and hide your real IP address, replaces it with a dummy one, keeping you and your kids, all those iPads that they got there at the hotel or at the cafe, keeps their IP address and data safe as well. And so any age kid, they can figure out how to use ExpressVPN, open the app, press one button, and you're connected. And if that doesn't get you, listen, you can use ExpressVPN to make it look like you're in other countries. I'm just saying, this is a feature of the thing that you can do. And when you do that, services, like streaming services that we're about to talk about, like Netflix and Disney+, you might get a different catalog of shows and movies depending on the country you're in. So I'm just saying, travel the world with ExpressVPN. They can just take that tagline and run with it. They could take that for free. And, their kids might guess you got some more content that you didn't have before because you're watching from the UK. And maybe you got a little Doctor Who. I don't know what is available over there. But listen, ExpressVPN. Watch from everywhere, get a different catalog of shows, and protect your IP address and your kids' devices, too. So secure your family's online activity, unlock tons of new shows by visiting expressvpn.com/HKI for HomeKit Insider. Use our link. Get 3 extra months for free. That's expressvpn.com/HKI. expressvpn.com/HKI to learn more. Our thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this show. Now, one of those other services that you can get, new shows or different shows if you use a VPN is HBO Max, which is about to go away. Because I got an email yesterday, Andrew. Did you get this email, too?
I have been following this saga for a long time. Yes, I did get the email, but this has been a long time coming between rumors for the longest time, then slowly confirming plans, and then yesterday, as we kind of record, they made everything official. And the week that you're listening to this, it will be available, I think, or is it next month? Either way.
It's April
so I think it's this week.
I don't know.
I think it's this week.
April something. Yeah. Basically, HBO is combining Discovery Plus and HBO Max. They're going to shove all this content, just shove it in like a... I don't even know. I don't know what the analogy is. But they're going to put it all into one service. They're going to call it Max. There's going to be 3 tiers because what streaming services need is more tiers to pay for. You got Max with ads for $10 a month, Max with no ads for $16 a month, and then Max Ultimate no ads for $20 a month, and that's the only way to get 4K and Dolby Atmos audio. And this is going to be, I don't know. I don't know if you heard this episode, Andrew, but the guys over at The Verge, they did like a streaming service bracket. They were like deciding what were the few streaming services they would actually pay for, if they could only have 2 or 3. I got to be honest. I don't know if Max would be one of them. I don't even know if HBO Max would be it. And I know there's great shows on there people love, like Succession, The Last of Us. I don't watch either of those. But I don't know, man. I'm not about Max. And I feel like we now pay more than we used to for cable packages back in the day. Streaming was supposed to be the cheap option, Not anymore. Not anymore. What do you think, Andrew? You going to pay for Max?
I'm just waiting for you to let me off my leash, Steven. This drives me crazy. So basically, like, the little bit of background here is that, like, Discovery and, like, Time Warner, everything merged together. So Time Warner had HBO and HBO Max, and then there's the Discovery side that had a bunch of things like the Magnolia Network, the Discovery Channel, all of those, blah, blah, blah. So they merged together to make an even bigger, massive company. And their thought was, okay, no one gives an expletive about the Discovery Plus. I have never met a soul that has subscribed to Discovery Plus. Like, get out of here. Really trying to keep my mouth clean for this one, Steven. But no one subscribes to Discovery Plus. So their thought was, okay,
no one.
We're going to merge all the Discovery content, like, into HBO. But then instead of keeping the globally recognized name for high-quality content, they're chucking it in the bin and switching just to Max. Like, Max.
Just
like,
Max.
Weird. Why? It's a terrible name. And at the same time, like you said, they're increasing prices here. So before you could get, it was $15. You could get 4 streams and 4K resolution on HBO. But now you have to pay $20 to get 4K and 4 streams. Your $15 is going to still have, I think, some ads, maybe. I think so, right, Steven? And then
the $16 a month is ad-free,
so
but
no 4K and
no simultaneous streams, no
Dolby and you're limited to your downloads to 30.
Yeah.
Like, definitely kneecapped from what it was before. So this is literally just turning into cable. You're getting a bunch of networks that you don't want. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to watch anything that was on Discovery or Magnolia, really. Like, I didn't want it before, and I don't want it now, even when you're shoving it down our throats and charging us more for the same content. And at the same time, Steven, if people haven't heard of the other shenanigans that the new leadership has been doing, like things like throwing into the trash the Batgirl movie, right? That movie was fully completed, ready to stream, and they thought it made more sense financially to shelve it and take the write-down on their taxes because it was too small to play in cinema. They figured it was too small, it wouldn't give a big enough return, but it was too big and too expensive to put on to HBO. So it was like they didn't have a home for it, so they thought, let's throw it away. So it's locked up in a vault, no one will see it because they took the write-down on their taxes. So that, like, financially I can get where it makes sense, but it's also such an FU to the creators and the people who put everything into that movie. You had a lot of representation in that movie. The reviews on that movie were very good from, like, you know, internally at least. And that's so disappointing to see something like that happen. And then they've also been ripping things off of HBO without any warning. Like, it's a fairly new movie. American Pickle was pulled with Seth Rogen. You had things like Westworld is probably one of their biggest ones. They pulled Westworld. Like, that's one of their flagship shows. They canceled it for a new season and then removed all of the old episodes. The reason for that is, again, because of residuals. So every time it would air, they'd still have to pay residuals for the show. So they're cutting down their costs by pooling it. So now they don't have to pay anyone for those things. And at the same time, they can sell it to someone else. So where it just popped up on Roku, which, of course, doesn't even show up on Apple TV. So you have to have a Roku TV or a Roku stick now to watch something like Westworld. It's so bad for customers. It's bad for the creators who have been making this content. And now they announced this new one in their list of shows that they're touting, like, these are the new originals that are going to come. A Conjuring TV show, another Big Bang Theory spin-off, a Harry Potter TV series, which is going to be... They say it's going to include a lot more details in this new series, but you have, like, kind of like the stuff that's going on with J.K. Rowling. It's bringing them a lot of bad press at the same time that they have to deal with, and they already have all the other IP of like their theme parks that they've built. So if this deviates from what they've already created, they're going to have a whole bunch of like image problems of like, what does magic look like, or house elves, or, you know, the Hogwarts castle. Like, that's not going to mesh with their physical massive buildings they spent millions of dollars on in their parks. So they're going to have a whole thing. I think this hall has been a terrible mistake since the new leadership took over. I'm sorry I ranted for so long, but it drives me crazy how bad this has been, and I hate the idea of this new streaming service. I will have it because we get it through like our cable company, so like I'm not paying anything extra for it. But it's very irksome.
Right. Well, you have two things for me. One, I'm curious. I actually get HBO Max through AT&T. I think it was a couple years ago. You know, one of their, if you upgraded to the 5G unlimited data plan, you get HBO Max for free. I'm curious if that will continue. There's always been this weird like login thing where whenever I have to like log into HBO, it sometimes kicks me over to AT&T website and log in. It always eventually works, but I'm curious how that will interact with this new streaming service, if that will be continued to be offered. But secondly, I feel like the content is just the problem. Like you were saying, these shows that they're announcing, so many of them are either reboots or nostalgia plays. And I guess you could say Succession and The Last of Us were kind of the two. Oh, and White Lotus. I see a lot of people talk about those on HBO, and I guess those were kind of the big hits. But for me, like when I go into the HBO Max app just now, I rarely find something that I really want to watch. And I feel like a lot of the streaming services have this problem. I experience this when I go into Netflix. A lot of times they have lots of content. I mean, there's lots of stuff. There's lots of movies, lots of TV shows, but none of them are really like, I want to watch that. And then the other day, because John Wick 4 is out, I wanted to watch the first John Wick. And where is that movie? Peacock. And I'm not about to pay for Peacock
of the streaming services because it does have a lot of
people like
all the NBC stuff there. I'm a fan of Peacock, and they've done things that are like unique, like doing all the Office episodes as superfan episodes with all the, like re-edited with all like the deleted scenes. Like I think that's a great idea. Like they're offering something original and something unique to bring to their stuff. But yeah, this is bad. And you brought up Netflix. Yeah. Netflix has been like hemorrhaging subscribers with between their price hikes, their password sharing crackdowns, and all this other stuff, and then they introduce these tiers with ads into Netflix, and they're doing so poorly with all of that. So I love that HBO and Warner Bros. Like, we should copy that recent Netflix model. Let's introduce more tiers, cut down on the quality until you pay more, and introduce ads. Like. They literally copied like the streaming service that is doing the worst right now, one of the worst.
I also think a lot of these services have an issue with design of their apps. At least, on Apple TV is where I'm usually browsing these apps, and I feel like it's hard to find stuff. And like Netflix is one of the weirdest because they'll have like the rows of content on Netflix. I'm not crazy about that, just the navigation style, but they'll have rows that are like top picks for Steven, and then it'll have we think you'll like, and then it has like good bets or whatever. It's there's another row that's like bet on these, and it's like I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know how to arrange this. And for right, exactly. And Max, with bringing more content into an already somewhat cumbersome app to navigate, I feel like is not going to bode well for just the user experience. And if people can't find something to watch in like a few minutes, I know for me, I always punch out. Like I'm like, well, forget it. I'll just watch something else. Watch YouTube. I'll go to YouTube typically because I can find something I want to watch faster there than on any of these streaming services. And so I don't know.
It's funny that their problem is discovery. Thank you.
That was very punny. That was very, very punny. That's a Discovery Plus joke. I will say, Apple TV Plus, I still think it is a little weird to try and get to all the Apple TV Plus content. I wish they actually had an app for the Apple TV content that was different than the Apple TV app on the Apple TV because it's just all jumbled together. Like, I know there's a tab up there for originals, but it's just hard to get
and there's not a good list.
All I have to say, though, no. I just want to say I watched Tetris, the movie, on Apple TV Plus. That was great. Really liked it. And I feel like Apple TV, for a streaming service, just comparing it to the other streaming services, I know a lot of people liked Shrinking. I watched a couple episodes. I did really enjoy it. I want to keep watching it. People like Ted Lasso. I think the original movies they're doing, they have that Napoleon movie coming soon, and Keanu Reeves and Jonah Hill are doing something on Apple TV Plus. I feel like Apple TV Plus, I've heard other people say this, it's like the new old HBO. Like, they're actually making quality content. They're focusing on quality, not quantity. And it's good stuff. I like Tetris.
I just want there to be more comedies, like more lighthearted comedies. Like even some of the like Shrinking is a comedy, but it's still fairly serious a lot. I love Shrinking. The only two like really big comedies I feel like are Lasso and Mythic Quest, but like that's really it in terms of like big straight comedies they have.
It's not big, but trying.
I didn't like that. I like a lot of British comedy. I didn't like that one as much. I know William on AI likes it a lot, but it wasn't my thing. And again, but it was still really serious and there was a lot of serious topics. So I still don't consider it like a full straight comedy. Like it's like Lasso and Mythic Quest. But my other thing was I put my head in my hands about was yesterday. I go to watch catching up on the After Party that I never finished. And I literally use Siri. I'm like, okay, the After Party. And there are two movies, one in like 2018 and one in 19 who the heck knows, and neither of them were Apple's own show. And I tried like 3 ways. I'm like, the after party,
oh no,
after party. Like, try to make it like one word. And none of these surfaced the show. So I had to go into the Apple TV app, go to the tab, scroll down to comedies, and scroll over because they had buried it at the end because they've had new content come out since then. Because there's not like a good filtering sort. I don't know. It was dumb. Like, it's Apple's own show. And Siri was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Here's an old movie. Do you want this? No.
Streaming services. What are these the streaming wars?
Did you see that? That was a whole South Park reference. They literally came out with these. The whole other thing. There's like a lawsuit now going on because South Park got sold into like streaming rights, and part of it was they're going to make like a bunch of new seasons and like 18 movies. Record number for how much this all cost. And there's like a lawsuit because it got put onto Paramount instead of like HBO. And there was a whole trickle down thing that's going on, but they did have a series of movies called The Streaming Wars, and it was kind of just like an analogy to all the streaming applications, which was just funny because they got sold into streaming, and it was all about basically selling their rights to different things, and it was like about water supply in Colorado, but it was all just kind of like more or less a metaphor to all the streaming apps.
Okay. Okay, I think I get it. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm going to try Max. I'll say if I still have it through AT&T once it updates. We'll see. We'll try it out. But all right, let's a couple other actual HomeKit items I wanted to mention. Number one, I talked about the Wemo dimmer a couple of weeks ago and how the little metal prong broke in the middle of it. Well, someone was listening, Andrew. I don't know who it is, but someone from Belkin is listening. So they sent me another thread light switch. So I'm going to try that out, and I will report back. I have yet to install it, but I will do that. And the reason why I haven't installed this one yet, which this is interesting. Oh, Apple HomeKit, by the way, on the box, not Apple Home. Just thought I think we should keep track of how many devices say Apple HomeKit and Apple Home. Maybe this was an old one sitting around. But anyway, the reason why I haven't installed this one yet is because I think it was last weekend I actually installed a Leviton 3-way dimmer. And I know I talked about 3-way switches for a long time when I was building the house. And that was the one aspect I avoided because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I just couldn't even with 3-way dimmers. You know, I have a Lutron setup, but it's really just one Lutron switch and a Pico remote for a 3-way switch. But Leviton had sent me all the information. You do get the Leviton 2nd Gen Wi-Fi dimmer, and then you have to get the companion dimmer, and then it will work in a 3-way circuit and dim. And I just want to report back. I spent the time, Andrew. I put in the Leviton dimmer. I put in the companion switch. I flipped the breaker on and off 50 times to make sure I didn't shock myself, but it works. I replaced 2 switches. I actually had a Maris switch and a dumb switch in a 3-way thing in our kitchen, but it didn't dim, and I wanted it to be able to dim, and so I did the Leviton dimmer, did the Leviton companion switch. I'll put a link to both of those in the show notes, so if you want to get that pair, you can get the exact pair, but it works. It's a 3-way dimmer.
Nice.
And it works. That's all. There you go. Now, you have something else that I'm a little envious of because you have the 2nd Gen, and I only have the 1st Gen. Oh, my goodness. Andrew's taking a slow sip from his Ember Travel Mug with Find
That's
My.
Exactly what it is. This is the Travel Mug 2 Plus. I think that's the name. Right, Steven? Now, you already have experience with these. Here we got our packaging. It's pretty much the same as it was before. And you'll notice right there on the bottom, we got our Find My logo. So this is the updated version.
Find My.
2 Plus, yeah, that's right. So hold 12 ounces of liquid. That was a fake drink. You can applaud my acting skills later, but it was a fake drink. It was a stage drink, Steven. This is empty. Couldn't even tell. But yeah, I'll go through like just this general stuff, and then I want to hear your thoughts because I know you said you got one for your wife, I think, a while ago, fairly recently actually. But
yes. So
it comes with a little charging pad, and looks like a little Qi charger type thing, but it uses pogo pins. So there's 2 little pins right there on the bottom. This is how most all of Ember's stuff kind of works charging wise. But 2 little pogo pins, they meet with these rings that are on the bottom of the cup. Same kind of technology as their new baby bottle ones that we had talked about on the show, and I'll revisit those later. But yeah, that's also the power button in the center. You can turn it on. It's empty, as I said, because I was cheating. So we got empty on there, and it's also cold because it's not heating. But there's a little, like, basically light here on the front that'll show you how you are heating your products inside, like your coffee, your tea, whatever it is. The top has a pop out, so it's like all smooth in there, and you press it down and it locks. Now you can sip from any angle on here, press it again, closes up so it's locked. It's got this nice soft touch finish to the outside. All that hasn't changed. What has changed is it works with the Find My app. Some people for sure rolled their eyes about this, but I think this is great. I seriously, like, if you walk out and you leave this at your office, you leave this at the gym, you leave this in your car, like, you can get notified all those. Like, if you wanted to even, like, take it into the store and you're, like, walking to the store and then you left in your car, oh, shoot, I got an alert that I left my mug in the car, and grab that as I walk in. But you can get left behind alerts, and then if you should lose it, put it into lost mode, get notified if anyone finds it. If anyone else finds it and they come near it with the lost mode enabled, it can pop up like your number, and they can get in contact with you to return your fairly expensive coffee mug. So I think all that is really cool. My biggest thing about this, Steven, if I had like one kind of criticism, I wish it was just a little bigger. I would have liked 16 ounces. I think 12 is just too small. If I was keeping something cold in this, like a Coke or something, I'd probably want to stick a few ice cubes in, so when you're hitting that 12 ounces like on the nose, it doesn't leave you any room for anything extra. Or if you did pour like a 12-ounce coffee and you wanted to, you know, drop like an equivalent amount of creamer in there, if you're one of those people, that's not going to happen. So I think the size is just slightly too small, but that's kind of my only thing. What are your thoughts after kind of using or having your wife use that one for a while, even if it doesn't have the Find My?
I mean, she's been using it since Christmas, and she loves it. You know, she uses it all the time, and pretty much every day. Yeah, because I wash it every day, so she uses it every day, and it works great. I mean, you know, it keeps it hot for plenty long. I know it's several hours. I got it on sale for like $150. That's one of the reasons why.
Probably because the new one was coming out in like literally 2 weeks or something.
Yes. Yes. But it keeps it hot for the several hours. She loves it. We actually have, at this point, 3 different Ember products. Because I actually got 2 mugs. I got like the original white mug. And then for like my wife's birthday one year, I got the copper colored mug, Mug². So the 2nd gen mug. And she still uses that too. She likes it for tea and all that kind of stuff. And now she uses the travel mug all the time. And she really likes it. And so, you know, you got to hand wash it. You obviously can't put this thing in the dishwasher, but that's with any of these kinds of things. But as far as keeping stuff hot, I mean, it does great. She really loves it.
Yeah.
So
it does. So it has a 3-hour battery life,
keep
which I'm sure is depending on how hot you're keeping things. But of course, like it is an insulated mug, so you're still going to have like the insulated benefits, even if it's not like actively heating the entire time. So you could probably like let it sit for a while, turn it on, adjust the heat, or leave it on a coaster and just let it go all day. So if you even picked up a second coaster, one for work and one for home or something, you just set it down and just all day have your drink at 100 and some degrees. Like that's fine. And it's got IPX7 water resistance, so it can be submerged for a meter deep. So it's cool to hand wash, soak in your sink, whatever you need to do, and you're good to go. But yeah,
that's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, the last thing that I wanted to mention, I got a new thing. It's kind of an old thing, but it's new for me, which is the Netatmo weather station. Now, you've talked about this before. You have this, right?
I do.
Don't you have one of these? You have one of these. I wanted to get it because I wanted to see what it did. I wanted to try and automate some stuff. I also have an Eve weather, and I realized if you just get this part, which does not include the rain or wind gauge, this really does kind of the exact same thing as the Eve weather. Like, it gives you temperature and humidity. The indoor thing does do more. You can get like air quality and other stuff. So you do get like an indoor and an outdoor sensor in one box. So you do get, you know, kind of that extra indoor sensing benefit. But I actually just right before you came on and we started recording, I just got the rain thing because it's going to be rainy season here in Florida in a few months. And so I want to see how the rain thing does. But I'm trying to set up automations where like my patio fans will turn on when it's a certain temperature. And I've also found it interesting because I've been monitoring I have an Eve weather outside, and it's literally right next to the Netatmo weather station. And typically they agree on temperature. Right now Netatmo has 78, Eve has 79. but humidity varies widely. Right now it's 1% different, but yesterday it was as much as 9% difference. And so that's just a really asinine, small, tedious detail that I'm going to keep an eye on because I think it's interesting. And I want to see which is more accurate, I guess, compared to forecasts and all that. But this also, I didn't realize Netatmo also has some cool widgets. They have some really cool widgets, especially when you have rainfall data and all that kind of stuff for your iPhone. And so I'm going to be playing around with that. So I just installed it yesterday, so I don't have a ton of thoughts on it, but I'm going to be trying it out in the next couple of weeks, and I'll report back, see how I feel. But yeah,
I really
Netatmo,
like their
weather.
stuff. I think their stuff is super accurate. And I've always loved because they're so private. They've got a lot of data protections built in. They have no subscriptions on any of their tech. They use the metal. It all looks so pretty. Right. And you end up, Steve, here's the thing. You're not going to stop. You already didn't stop at just the one thing. Because I started with the smart home station, and I do think it's better than the EVE one because you get the two parts. You get indoor and outdoor. You get the air quality indoor, all that stuff. They put in a lot of other data around you, your outdoor air quality. They can still bring in. It has those visual cues on the front of it. You can tap it to get a reading on demand. That'll pop up on your phone with a notification. You tap it and it pops up new on demand reading, and you can see it right there. They do a lot of cool stuff, but yeah. It reminds me of chicken math because you start off with the one thing, next thing you know, it just has grown. And it's not super cheap or anything like that, but yeah, you start off with your indoor and outdoor weather stations, then you end up with the rain gauge, and then it wasn't long after that I picked up the anemometer to measure the wind. We're basically a wind tunnel, and I want to know how fast the wind gets and get alerts if the wind gets to certain levels. So, yeah, you might end up you already got the rain gauge, you might end up with that anemometer next.
A lot.
But what's interesting is the rain gauge and the anemometer show in the Home app as tiles, but they say not supported via HomeKit. But I'm hoping eventually, by way of Matter or WWDC coming up, that we're going to get things like that in the Home app natively. Netatmo is ready to play ball. They literally have the data there. Apple just needs to enable it. Yeah.
Let it in, Apple. And listen, we got WWDC coming up in 2 months, so hopefully we'll see some updates. Interactive widgets supposedly is a new rumor.
At least in testing,
maybe in iOS 17 would be great for.
We'll see.
Well, in testing, it would be amazing if Home got some widgets that you could interact with. I'm just saying.
By the way, Steven,
just
randomly as we were talking, I got an alert that I had not gotten before that my smart video doorbell G4 has a too high temperature. We're getting into summer.
Boy.
These are things that we can't test in the winter. But yeah, in the mornings, the sun is coming from that side. It's hitting that doorbell, and apparently it's getting hot.
Oh, boy.
It says, please check. I'm what am I going to do?
Oh, boy, it's getting hot in here.
Fan it? Blow on it lightly?
Take it down, I guess. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Palm branch. Just wave a palm branch.
Unless it's actively on fire right now, it's just going to sit there.
Well, we'll see. We'll
cool down when it's ready, and not much else I can do.
Well, we'll follow up. We'll follow up with that in the coming weeks. But listeners, let us know. Send us your questions, your home projects. Let us know what you got going on. Watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/HomeKit Insider. And as always, thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
We'll catch you next time.